are going to talk about feminism. And before I start, I have a question. Do you think the God is a man or a woman?
Man.
The what?
The God.
Man.
No,
Suppose.
Yeah, it seems like most of you think that a God is a man. But according to Bible, the God is no gender.
Yeah.
So let's see this issue. Let's see what we're gonna talk about exactly today. The first is introduction, and then we talk about some history in the women's rights, and the pros and cons, the effects, and conclusion, and then we discuss several questions. This is the symbol of feminism. I think we should know what it is feminism at first. Feminism is a range of movements and ideologies that they share a common goal to define, establish, and achieve equal political, economic, and cultural, personal, and social rights for women. It includes seeking to establish equal opportunities for women in education and employment. And a feminist advocate and support the rights and the equality for women. And we also should know what is feminist. Feminists are people. It could be both men and women, and it put forth social policies for females and males. Some active feminists may campaign for the education and the economic, and but most of feminists are passive of their approach. But they still strongly hold their view of men and women should be equal. And there also a common misconception is that people think feminists are a term just relating to women. But many modern days, a man can also be identified as a feminist. Let's see the history information about feminism. In ancient China, the status of women are very low. It's largely due to the custom of food binding. Food binding means we use a kind of belt to limit the growing of our food, and almost 45% of women did this during 19th century, and the upper classes, almost 100% of women did this, and it stopped in 1912. In 1912, Chinese government ordered cessation of food binding, and in ancient Athens, women has no legal personhood, and the women assumed as a part of a man. And in ancient Rome, women who are citizens enjoy the legal privileges and protections, but it's not included non-citizens or slaves. And however, women still don't have the right to vote, or they cannot hold a public office and have no rights to serve in the military. The history between 1850 to present. Here is several important timing. In 1872, the word feminism first appeared in France and in Netherlands, and then appeared in Great Britain in 1980s. And then the word feminism appeared in the United States in 1910. And in 1919, through the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution, the women gained the right to vote. And in 1944 in France, women obtained the right to vote. In 1970 in Switzerland, women granted the right to vote. And after this, many countries passed the bill of the right to vote for women. And the history of modern Western feminism movements can be divided into 3 waves. These 3 waves has different aspects, but they have the same feminist issue. The first wave feminism is activity of a period during the 19th century and the early 20th century, which happened in United Kingdom and United States. And it focused on equal contract, marriage, and parenting as priority rights. The picture shows you as an activity during that period. The second wave feminism began in the early 1960s, and it also continued to present. And it coexists with the third wave feminism. It focused on also the equal issue, but other than suffrage, such as ending discrimination. Here is a picture during that period. The third wave feminism is happening in the early 1990s in the USA, and it distinguished itself around the issue of sexuality, and it challenged heterosexuality and celebrating sexuality. Here are also some activity pictures during that period. And as I mentioned, the women's rights, and my partner Cherry will introduce some women's rights for you.
And now I'm going to talk about women's rights. And there are mainly 3 parts of women's rights. The first one is political rights, the second one is economic rights, and the third one is social rights. Now I'm going to talk about political rights. Political rights mainly include the women's suffrage and whether they cannot be elected by people. There are some examples that the women president in the world, and they are very famous and it influenced our social life. The first one is Elizabeth, and she is the first woman president in the world.
Wow.
She is the president of Argentina in 1974 to 1976, and she is a dancer before she is being a president, and before she was president. Yeah. And the next example is Dilma Rousseff. She is now the Brazil's president of Brazil. She is the president of Brazil since 2011 and to today, and she is the only woman president who win the re-elections in Brazil. And the next is Park Geun-hye. She is the president of Korea, and she is the only woman president in East Asia. And her success influenced the political society in Asia. And the next I want to talk about the economic rights. There are 3 points. The first one is job equality. We think both married and unmarried women have their rights to have jobs. But nowadays, still there are some companies avoid having married women as their employee because they may leave for maternity leave or they are unstable because they might have to take care of their children. For example, my father's company. He think that married women is not unstable, and unmarried women have the priority to employ first, then consider the married women. And the next is income equality. Feminism believes that men and women should have the same pay, no matter what jobs. And the next one is the rights of inheritance. There are some stereotypes that they think parents' property should inheritance by son but not daughter, because they think men have more power to control and to organize their property, but women does not have this. But there are still some successful women in the economic world. Here's some examples. The first one is Indra Nooyi. She's the CEO of Pepsi, one of the most famous companies, and you all drink Pepsi, do you? Yeah. So she is listed on one of the world's most powerful women in Forbes in 2014. And the next one is Coco Chanel. I think you all know this brand. Yeah, she is the founder of Chanel, and she is listed on the 100 most influenced people in the 20th century. Her fashion design is very popular around us, and yeah. The next one I want to talk about is social rights. Mostly, feminism believes that both men and women should have the same education. They have the rights to have the same education. But yeah. And the next, Aco is going to talk about the pros and cons of feminism.
There is a word saying like, there are always two sides of everything. So I'm gonna introduce the pros and cons of feminism. It can keep women from being exploited. In the ancient time, people think women know nothing, and they don't think women deserve to be educated. So they might cheat women and use them to do something bad. And the other pro is that women have gained equality. During a long time, the feminists has did a lot to gain the rights for women, and there are several evidence shows that we already get the rights with equality with male. And in the past, women cannot speak in the public, and but nowadays, all ethnic group of women can speak their own words in the public. And in the past, even women know they are not fair with men, and even they can feel unfair, but they have no rights to get their rights. But nowadays, at least they are able to demand their rights. Here is several cons. The first one is anti-male. Some feminism could be anti-male. They might think that sexual relation is a kind of violent action, but they still want to have children. But in order to avoid this violence, they might use insanity. And the other cons is gender differences. Some feminism think that women should be equal with men. So they thought that we should equal with men for everything, even the physics. So they choose to be a lesbian and forget the men.
Sorry, Uncle, do you mean gender differences?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Gender
gender
differences.
differences. And,
That's a big word. Gender difference.
And in a family, too over feminism could put domestic responsibility in a bad light. It's not good for their marriage, and it's not good for the growing of their children. And next, Cherry gonna introduce some effects on society.
There are lots of effects on the society these days. For example, such as women's suffrage and the rights to own their property or the rights to make their own decisions. And before talking about more details, let's look at this chart. This chart shows some facts that the participation in Convention on Elimination of Discrimination against Women. Let's see, almost all countries around the world have signed and ratified this convention. But there are still some countries, such as Iran, they didn't participate in this convention. And the United States, they are only signed in this convention, but they are not acceded or ratified. And now let's talk about civil rights. There are two parts. The first one is the division of labor. There are now increased entry of women to the workplace. More and more women have jobs, no matter they are unmarried or married. And also they have their ability to make their own decisions on birth control. They are allowed family planning and career, so they can decide whether they take care of the family or go to work. And also they can make individual decisions regarding to pregnancy. And next is the employment rates. As you can see, the curve of employment rates of married women is going up today. The blue line is the married woman. In 1950, the employment rate of married women only 11%, but in 2010, the employment rate is going up to 69%. It is a huge change in the unemployment rates. And the next one is the impact on theology. There are a lot of feminist religions. The first one is Christian feminist. Christian feminists believe that interpret and understand Christian in light of equality of women. They believe that gods don't have the bias between the biases of sex. And the next one is Islamic feminist. They advocate women's rights, gender equality, and the social justice grounded within an Islamic framework. And the next one is Jewish feminist. They are going to improve the religious level and social status of women, which they allow women to do more things, and they open up new opportunities for women to experience and leadership for Jewish women. Another one is the autonomy rights of last name. Nowadays, women have their own decision to decide whether or not follow their husband's last name after they get married. Also, some women decide to have double last name so that they don't have to ignore their original last name. So, in conclusion, there are now more and more people joining feminism this day. And their movement is based on the women's rights such as political rights and economic rights. They have both positive and negative effects. They give women more rights and power in order to let them to make their own decisions and avoid being exploited by men. However, there are also some negative effects that because men and women are gender different, and we can do nothing to change our physical differences. And now we are going to discuss.
The first question is, can you give some example of gender inequality around you? It's like an example that happened around your life. I can give you an example of myself. My mother really wants me like to get a stable job and married with a good man and live forever very calm and peace. They don't want me to work hard and something. I think it's kind of inequality. Christian.
In my country, there are some married women that doesn't work, but it's not because they can't. It's because they don't want to. I mean, if her husband has a good income, they just for laziness, I think so. They just stay at home doing nothing. I mean, they can work, and even the people that doesn't have a good income, they receive good help from the government, and they don't work because they don't have to, because the government gave them everything, and they just do nothing. It's for laziness, not because they can't. That's what happened in my country.
It sounds good. Harry.
I have an example in my own family. My aunt she studied nursing, become a nurse. When she started working, her husband said, no, you don't have to go out to work. So she was obliged to quit her job and stay home. And her husband allowed him an income, like every month she has her own money. So
I've got an example that happened a lot in my country. Like when you have 16 years old, you can get your driver license, but it's not a driver license, it's like a
Permit.
yeah. So most of the people, like if their parents can, they give them a car, or maybe they like if your mother have a car, you can use your mother's car. Okay. So when I get 16 years old, I told my mom I want to get my license. So she told me like, okay, you can wait until you get more older to get your license. And because of my grandmother and my aunts, and when my cousin he gets 16 years old, and he has a car and he has their license. They say like the men drive better than the woman, and that's why they.
That's a true fact, you know. Scientists explain that, you know, women are
You're gonna get punched, you know.
worse drivers than men.
Marissa wants to say something.
No.
Oh.
Can I do the
Yeah. Well, what we'll do is, girls, boys, you can leave during the break. Everybody leaves except for Muhammad. And girls, we'll punch him.
in my country, almost all men work like around 13 hours a day. It's unbelievable. I think it's unbelievable for you, but it's the fact. And they don't have, men in Japan do not have enough time to do housework. So they need, domestic wives. But these days, there are many women who graduate from college. So
Thank you, Kazuma.
there are many, working mothers. Yeah. So, but like as Christian said, there are a lot of domestic wives in Japan because it's not because they are lazy, but because they cannot get enough money. Even if they work hard, they cannot get higher, income. Yeah, so that's why, in Japan there are many domestic wives.
Maybe in Saudi Arabia we have similar way with the Christians can what? We have like similar way with the women. They can work but they don't want to.
No. My sister is working and she wants to work. She wants to work, she wants money of her own and hard work. So
That's your sister.
1%.
my sister, my auntie.
Just your sister.
Even my mother, even friends of my mother, they want money. They do everything they want.
Everything.
Even your family, not yeah.
He's from Europe.
In my family, my parents want grandsons, but they don't want granddaughters. Yeah, so
Why?
yeah, because if you have a son, he will follow your family name. If you have a daughter, he will have others' family name. Yeah, it's like a family tree. If you have a daughter, you won't grow up. But if you have a son, you will grow up. That's why.
I agree with Thor. I was born in a traditional family. When I was still in my mom's stomach, my mom told me, the CT said, the doctor said, I was a girl because if it's a boy, the boy is gonna move a lot. But I didn't move a lot. I was lazy. Then my grandpa get very disappointed because my father's brother already have a daughter, so they need a son to follow the tradition. So my grandpa got very disappointed. Even he let my mother born me in a different city.
What?
Yeah, born me in a different
You
city.
mean birth you?
Yeah,
Birth you in
yeah.
a different city.
So it turned out to be I'm a boy. So
Yeah, but that explains why you have cheeks. You get it?
I have an example for my father's company. So if they, like, women and men works, they pay differently. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They usually do it in Korea.
So they pay men higher?
Yeah.
Wow.
So sad.
This is a
I
tough
think
topic.
sometimes, like, if a man and a woman have the same ability, want to get a job, but the company will hire the man first. And also, just as Jason said, in some countryside, especially in China, in some countryside, the grandparents always want grandsons. Yeah, and parents will promote mission to sons.
Here for my own example, that in my family, my father has 3 sisters and 1 brother, and I'm the only child, and that means I am the only girl and no boys in my home. And my father's brother, my uncle, she has 2 daughters and no son, so there's no people to follow my last name anymore if I get married to another people. So it's very sad.
Well, my example is similar to Laura's, but in China, those transnational companies, when they're seeking an employee to work abroad, most of the time they will choose a male
Okay, let's move on to the next question.
The next question is: do you think men and women should have equal rights? Why or why not?
Yes.
Of course.
I think it depends.
What's your
of course.
opinion, Amina?
Some works in our society, it's just for men because men can able to
What kind of job?
like military. The military is just for men because I think that they are strong enough to follow it, but women.
But there is women
That want to,
military.
yeah. There are women that want to.
Yeah, but
go to
it's hard for them.
No, it's not hard.
It's
for
not hard.
humans.
You just have to go into.
Humans are still humans.
Have a
as well.
spirit, right?
You know, men can walk on the street shirtless, but women cannot.
What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, and again.
Explain, Mohammed. Where are you going with this?
Well, actually, and you know, if a guy.
What's the word? Just say it in English.
Okay.
All right, Mohammed,
And
explain.
if a guy, you know, hits a woman, it's so bad, but woman hits a guy, nothing happens, you know.
Oh, sorry, I'm not
So,
discussion.
so do you think if women hits a man, they should be punished?
Yeah.
No.
No.
If
the woman push like a man is because of something.
So if they are psycho women,
Yeah.
they hit guys
No, that's
because they
true.
want to.
So,
At the same time, the men are.
so even though you want to be gender equality, but you also think that women should not be punished if you hit someone. So this is
No.
yeah very something.
Marisa, want to say something?
I think it depends. Like it's not the same. Like if there's a psycho woman that is hitting yeah, like that happens.
It is. It's in the news.
That's for real. Like it's not the same hitting your husband because you're crazy than slapping him because he was rude, you know, or because he was saying something inappropriate in public or whatever. You know, when someone does something to you and you're like, shut up or do whatever. Okay, it's not the same thing that being a psycho, you know. And there are some wives that actually do that. So that's a fact. But I think that this is a matter of like a balance, you know. When people talk about equality, it's not like equality, you know. They're like usually go to one side or the other. I think personally that the fact that women should have equal right in society than men does not mean like if we're in a couple, like if I don't know, if he's my boyfriend, I should open the door for him. Like if I'm paying, like I don't know how to explain it, but like oh my god, this is so frustrating. I don't know, like it's not the same, you know. Having same rights does not mean you're the girl, I'm the girl, and I'm the boy, and you're the boy.
Yeah.
No, like I'm still the girl, and you're still the boy. You know, so
Yeah.
act like it.
Yep.
What's your opinion?
And when we talk about feminism, we always think that women are in bad situation, women need to be protected. But like sometimes when we talk about feminism, men are in the bad situation. Like women have some natural advantages. Some positions.
Like, can you give us an example? What's the advantage?
Like some positions are only open to women.
Like what?
Like in the past, only women work on the plane, and only women working in the kindergarten, right? But I think now in the modern society, some men choose to working in the kindergarten.
Like
as a
giving
teacher.
birth, only women can do that, right? That's a good example.
But
Only
I
women.
think that's why I think men and women should be treated equally. because like everyone have their own advantages, but you can't just choose them based on their advantages. You should like.
I see what you're saying. I'm sorry, I'm leading your discussion, sorry.
I agree with women have natural advantage.
What kind of
natural advantage?
What kind of?
Back to my high school. back to my high school. This is my own experience. My school was a military school, so if you want to gain certain position or to be an officer, to be a leader, you have to do certain jobs to prove your ability to lead a group. Usually the men have to do certain tests in order to get in the position. But female students just have to talk to the male teacher to get in track with their conversation.
Really?
Yes. And they can get in the position.
And nowadays in some company, the boss is man and
The secretary.
the employee is female, and they can do something like that to get their high position in the company. Yeah.
That's
There you go, that one.
That's true.
That's us.
And the next question is, what factors affect gender inequality do you think?
Physical.
Also, our physical shape, women, like men has more muscles, so.
Maybe the feelings, like because most of the people think that the woman is like more sensitive and emotional.
Yeah, not only the physics, it's just brain. Brain works different.
That's
Yeah, that's right.
I think some traditional attitudes also affect gender.
Yeah.
Because in China, people always think women should pay more attention on housework and child care,
Not
not
only in
on their
China.
jobs.
Not only in China, but all around the world. So, so in conclusion, we both think women should have a kind of equality with men, but sometimes it is not equal because we can do nothing to change. Yeah, that's all for our presentation.